Hello everyone. Today is a soup day. My son made a big batch of chicken that he baked, and we have so much left over. We had guests over and he made a lot. So I thought the perfect thing to make would be a nice chicken and rice soup. Normally when I make chicken soup, I usually use chicken that hasn't been cooked yet, but since this chicken has been cooked and it's so much of it, I'm going to take advantage of it and make a nice chicken and rice soup, which is my favorite way to make chicken soup with rice. So I went grocery shopping looking for some more carrots, and I found a really good deal on these rainbow carrots. They're organic, and they were actually cheaper than non-organic regular carrots. So I decided I might as well take advantage of this. So I'm going to use these, and it's a real basic recipe, but I'm showing you how to make this with chicken that's already been cooked. So I hope you enjoy this wonderful chicken and rice recipe. These are basically our ingredients. We have to wash all our vegetables. We have carrots, celery, we have a little parsley and onion, and that's it, besides our water that we're going to use and our chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to peel our carrots, and then we're going to chop them up. Probably anywhere from an inch to a half an inch size. And we're going to chop up our celery. I'm using about 2 stalks, and I'm using like 3 carrots, mainly because I just want to get all these pretty colors, these rainbow carrots in my soup. So this is called a mirepoix. It's a French name for it, which I learned from my youngest son. Believe it or not, I didn't figure that out on my own. So what we're going to do is chop everything up, and we're going to use a whole onion. And then what I'm going to do is saute everything in, I'm going to use olive oil, and I'm going to saute everything for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes on a low. And so some people, they make their chicken soups, they just throw everything in, but I saute the vegetables first because it just makes them a little more tender and yet gives it lots and lots of flavor. So we're going to chop everything up. And the larger ones, I can kind of just cut them in half or even quarter them, or just make them in little smaller pieces because they are really large. We're going to use a whole onion. Any kind of onion you want. I'm using one whole, kind of a medium-sized onion. Once you have all your vegetables chopped, what you're going to do is you're just going to put it all in a little dish, and we're going to go over and cook all of these vegetables. The first thing to do is put it in a container that you can fit it in. It's not too small. So you get a pot that's as big as you think you're going to need to cook however much you're going to make. And I put like a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in a pan, about 2 tablespoons, but it depends on how much you're making. And then I take my vegetables and just dump them in. And now we're going to get a wooden spoon and kind of stir them around. So you want to saute these for, I would say, a good 10 minutes because you want to soften them. And I have my gas stove on about 3 right now, so it's going to come up a little higher, but you could actually saute these as long as 15 minutes. You want them to be not all the way cooked, but you want them nice and tender. So this has been cooking about 10 minutes, and anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, 12 minutes is a perfect timing to soften these up, and it gives it a lot of flavor. So at this point, I'm going to add a little, this has been cooking about 10 to 12 minutes. I didn't put the timer on, but I'm going to add some garlic. And I use a lot of fresh garlic, and I also use the minced garlic. So I put about a teaspoon in. Once the vegetables have softened, then you can add your garlic so it doesn't burn. So I'm going to kind of saute this probably another 2 or 3 minutes. While you're sauteing your vegetables, you can take, I would say, probably either dry parsley if that's what you have, or if you have fresh parsley. I'm going to have probably 2 or 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley after I wash it. I'm going to kind of chop it up fine. And I don't saute the parsley. I wait till the soup is, everything's in it, you know, like the water and chicken, and then I add the parsley kind of last. And I am going to chop this very fine. So here it is. This is about how you want it, and this has been cooking a total of probably about 15 minutes on very low. Just enough to saute it, make your vegetables and onions translucent, and now we're going to add water. And I'm not measuring the water. I'm just going to put it up probably about 3/4 the way in the pot. So you can start adding your seasonings now before you put the chicken in or after. So I'm going to put some salt. I'll probably end up putting probably about 2 teaspoons of salt, and I will have to taste it as we cook it. That's what you always do. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder. That's probably 1/4 teaspoon because we do have the fresh minced garlic. And then I am going to put probably a teaspoon of thyme. And I'm not measuring it, but I'm tasting it afterwards so I can tell you. You can add whatever seasonings you want. I like thyme in my chicken soup. And, you know, I like pepper, which I'm going to put in a minute. And then I'm going to start adding the chicken. You want to turn up the heat. So I've got it turned up to like a high. I'm going to start boiling it in a minute. I'm going to bring it to a boil to begin with. So what we have here is we have chicken legs. And we have so many of them, I'm not going to use all the chicken in here, but I'm going to use as much as I feel that, you know, maybe 6 legs, and then we'll freeze the rest or eat the rest. But this is going to give it a really good broth. So we're going to start boiling it right now. So while it's coming up to temp, I just put the parsley in now. I'm only putting probably a tablespoon actually, and I might want to add more later, but so we're kind of like stirring it around, and it isn't quite up at high yet, but I'm waiting for it to boil first, and I'm just going to let it boil a few minutes, and then I'm going to turn it down to like a medium low, so that it can cook the whole time at a slow pace. And good soups don't boil, they simmer. You cook them low. This is exactly what you want it to be, boiling just like this. So once you bring it up to a boil and it's hot, now we're going to turn it down to like a 2 or 3 on low. And then what I do is I put the lid on and I cock it like this. Normally I never put a lid completely on like this. I always leave it like this so it can have a little air coming out. So now we're going to cook this, I would say about an hour. I like to cook my soup slow and a little long, but we'll check it after an hour. The rice will be put in, and I usually put in a cup of rice, and I do that the last 20 to 25 minutes of the cooking. The soup has been cooking 40 minutes, and I tasted it, and it has a really good flavor. I added a little more pepper, and I'm going to add a little more salt. It really has enough, but I just want to add a little more to just give it that little extra flavor. So if you can see, it's got a really nice broth. So it's been cooking about 40 minutes, and I think I'm going to cook it a full maybe hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to wait to put the rice in. It's been 1 hour that the soup has been cooking now, so now I'm going to add a cup of rice. And I'm going to kind of even it out throughout the pot so it doesn't just cook in one spot. And then I'm going to kind of stir it around. And this is where I'm going to put the lid on completely so the rice can cook. So this rice will probably take 20 to 25 minutes to cook. And I have it on a 3. So I'm going to turn it down to like a 2, where it's low but not real low. And I'm going to put the lid on. And I'm going to cook it 20 to 25 minutes more. And I am going to add another like tablespoon of parsley as well. So here's our soup. You can see how all the rice and all the goodies in it looks so yummy. So the total cook time on this has been 1.5 hours. So you can see it's cooked down. The broth is cooked down quite a bit, but yet it's nice and thick and hearty. So what we'll do is put some in a bowl and try it out. It's soup now. So this is super hot. I put it in a bowl and looks so delicious. I tasted it while it was cooking because that's something that's necessary. It's necessary to taste it so you know it has all the flavors you want. So I'm not going to eat a whole lot of this in front of the camera because it's really hot, but I'm just going to take a little taste of the broth and we'll give it one taste right now. This is the best soup. So good. So when you do cook chicken, just like when you have turkey, it's cooked already. And a lot of people make turkey soup after Thanksgiving because they have so much of the carcass and the bones and a lot of the turkey left over, and it's a good soup. And I think the reason it's so delicious is because it has been cooked. It has all the seasonings already there in the chicken. So I do make chicken soups with leftover chicken, but if I plan on making like a chicken soup, if that's the reason I buy the chicken, then I don't cook it first. I cook it in the soup. But to be honest, chicken soup is much better when the chicken's cooked first. It really is, because it has all those flavors. So this is wonderful. If you like chicken soup, this is a wonderful way to make it, and the rice just tops it off. So I hope you give this a try, and I hope it turns out wonderful for you.